Hey there, welcome to the Canadian Whiteboard Finance channel. I'm your host, Galen Nuttall, and as always, I am here to help take complex financial concepts and make them simple for Canadians, almost always using a whiteboard. And in case you don't know, the reason I do this is because I have both a master's in education, which is this over here, and my certified financial planner designation over here. And really my mission has been to take what I learned about teaching concepts back when I used to teach fractions for grade 5 students and combine it with financial literacy for Canadians. Now, a very special series of videos that I'm filming right now, which is all about a concept that's commonly referred to as infinite banking. And I'm tackling this because I've seen a lot of even Facebook ads talking about infinite banking or beat the banks, be your own banker, banker's secret, banker's vault. They're all different names applied to a concept around financial planning. It's a concept, it's a bit of a philosophy, and I'm here to really take a look at, what is it how does it work in Canada? Because over the last many months, I've talked to a lot of people about this concept. People have reached out to me, asked me about it, and a lot of the content out there is based out of the States. And so they really wonder, how does this really work in general? And does it work for Canadians? And if it does work for Canadians, what does it look like? So I'm here to tackle all that. And just to make it simple, before I dive into the video and before I get out the whiteboard, I will say, you don't have to become an expert in this stuff before you reach out to take a call with someone like me who can help discover whether it works for you or not. Disclaimer, it does not work for everyone. A lot of the people who reach out to me, I tell them that they're not a good fit right now, or they may never be a good fit for this. And for other people, they're a fantastic fit. So I'm going to talk about that in my videos as well. Now, so there's a link below to book a call with me, or in all likelihood, as I'm filming this, you can book a call with me, but in the near future, it'll probably be with someone on my team because I can't field all the phone calls I'm getting from different places anymore. But anyways, if you're watching this close enough to when I've filmed it, you would be booking a 15-minute call with me, no obligation, to help figure out if it's a good fit for you. And there's a few questions that I can ask to very quickly discover that. And then you can decide, am I going to keep learning about this concept or is it not for me? So I'm going to dive in a bit more into what the series is going to cover and a little bit more about some top things around infinite banking that I think everyone should know. So I'm going to pull up my whiteboard and get started. All right, let's dive on into the whiteboard. So a few things to cover here. As I mentioned, this is an introduction in part to the series of videos I'm going to be doing around infinite banking, the ones that you can find here on this channel. First off, I'm going to commonly use quotes or air quotes or say infinite banking when it comes to this concept. The reason I do that is because it's referred to by a lot of people call it a lot of different things. And I don't really like having the word infinite inside of any sort of financial concept. And it's actually a cause of confusion for people who call me where they're like, where is the infinite part of this? And I will tackle that on future videos of how it is referred to as infinite banking. But I really want people to understand it's a name given to a concept and a name given to a special way of looking at a product that's available in Canada. So that's why I'm going to be doing that. Second, my goal always is to take people from here, super confused about something, to understanding and knowing how it works. And so I'm going to do that via the whiteboards. So the big questions that I've been getting over the last many months around this concept, making it super simple, keeping it, away from the jargon, and then also really getting clear on why does it seem to be, if you go into a group and you bring this topic up, it can be one of the most polarizing topics in conversations around financial planning. The reason I believe it can be is because people are looking at it two different ways. And so I saw something the other day where it's pretty interesting. It said if you look at a cylinder from one angle, it looks like a square. If you look at it from the side, one side it's a square or a rectangle, and if you look at it from the other side, it's a circle. But if you look at it at the right angle, you actually see the entire object, which is a cylinder, like a tube. So if you look at a tube sideways, it looks like a rectangle. If you look at it on the front, it's a circle. And I think that's true of infinite banking because the people who are really, really opposed to it are usually looking at it from a very specific angle. And the people who are really pro infinite banking are looking at it from another angle. And so that's what I'm here to uncover is how come people, from the people watching it, looking at it from this angle, there's some truth to that. The angle of from the people who don't like it, there is some truth to that. So where's the truth in that? How do you look at it? And then also the truth in the people that are really pro this concept. And then it's really taking a really big overhead view and looking at the whole thing so that you can figure out whether it works for you or not. Now, disclaimers as I go. First off, as I mentioned, infinite, I'm not a huge fan of the word infinite being thrown around when it comes to financial concepts, but you're going to hear me refer to it as that. First off, certainly don't take on any of this don't take on anything without consulting with your financial planner, your accountant, your lawyer, whoever you need to consult with in your life. Like, don't take that on. Other things, not so much disclaimers, but like just noteworthy things, is I do have my certified financial planner designation, as I mentioned. I am dual licensed, and that means that I have access to insurance and investment products. At the end of the day, whether you know this or not now, you're going to find out right now that infinite banking, the core of it is an insurance product, and it's a special approach to an insurance product. So the reason I point out that I'm dual licensed is because I'm looking at this from a different point of view as a lot of people who talk about this. Like if you go online and you hear people talking about infinite banking, they're not often going to be a certified financial planner. They're not often going to be dual licensed where they could do the investment side of things if they wanted to. Not saying I'm the only one, just noteworthy. And the other thing is that I have specialized over the past years in corporate planning. So if someone has a corporation, physicians, business owners, trusts, things like that. When I became an advisor, I just saw that there weren't a lot of advisors that understood corporate planning, and so I decided to get really good at it. You don't have to have a corporation to take on something like infinite banking, but it is a bit of a bonus in that some of the benefits of it are heightened a bit. So you don't have to have it. For plenty of people, it makes sense without one, but for people with corporations, there can be an extra layer of complexity and benefit to it. And the last thing I'll say is everything that I'm saying is theoretical. It's all a theory until you apply it to your actual life. So I'm going to I'm going to write the word expert, and I'm going to put oh man, I put the P like way over there. I'm going to draw the word expert, and I'm going to draw a line through it because I don't um, like you don't have to become an expert before you speak to someone like me. So I've had people who call me up and they're like, "Hey Galen, I've watched all your videos. Now I'm finally ready to book a call with you. Let's talk for 15 minutes." And I'm like, you don't have to do that. Like, you don't have to understand exactly how this works to be able to call up. You just have to have a sense of, I think this might be a good idea to explore. Have a phone call, book a call with the link, 15 minutes, no pressure. I'll tell you whether you're a good fit or not, or whether you might be a good fit down the line. And so, like, don't spend hours upon hours, like, studying this. Like, years ago, I spent hours upon hours figuring out, like, podcasts and websites and stuff like that, YouTube. And I really didn't learn as much about it watching the videos as I did as just starting it or having conversations with people who knew what they were doing. Like, it really propelled my understanding forward. So, don't try to become an expert at this stuff. There's too much to know. Just, if you think you're a good fit, go ahead and have a conversation. So those are all my disclaimers. Now, list of concepts I'll be covering in this series that are covered in this series of videos is one is who is a good fit. So when you click on the link to book a call, there's an intake form where I start to get a feel for what you're looking for, whether you might be a good fit or not. But it's really in a conversation that we're going to find out. And so you're somewhere on the spectrum of yes, good fit, no, not a good fit. And when everyone comes to the table, I assume neutral in the beginning. May work, may not work. And then I ask questions. And I'll ask a question, and the way someone answers it, I'll say, maybe you're not a good fit. And if they keep answering the questions in a way that it makes it probably not make sense, I'm gonna end up saying you're not a good fit right now, or you may not be a good fit in general. And we're not going to move forward with this conversation. If you're a good fit, it's like, oh yeah, like this, depending on, what you're looking to accomplish, the reality of your situation. Yep. Let's have another conversation to see if it makes sense. So that's one of the videos I'm going to cover is how you can sort of self-assess to see if you're a good fit or not in all likelihood. Next is how does it work? So how does this thing actually work? So I find a lot of people when they come to me, they still have a lot of questions on how this exactly works. So my goal is going to be take the whiteboard, explain it in plain English how this works, and so you can start getting a sense of, oh, okay, like it's kind of like this thing that I already understand, but not quite, and you can start to kind of like really get a sense of how it works and what it is. Next is pros and cons. As I mentioned, there's a lot of people out there. Like I said, I had someone call me up and they're like, yeah, my daughter was watching TikTok and a TikToker said that infinite banking is amazing. And so I called you because I found you. And I'm like, yeah, maybe it is for you. Maybe it isn't. Like, let's find out. And like, what are the pros and cons? Like, nothing is like 100% black and white slam dunk all the time for everyone. So I come to the conversation. So that's what we're going to talk about is the pros and cons. And then another thing, and there's another concept you're going to see in the videos is common myths. So people come to me and a lot of times they have like a sense of how infinite banking works that is incorrect based on information they've gotten either out of the States because it's just different down there, different up here, or that there's just something out there, like the way that people explain things of the videos I've seen or the concepts I've seen, I don't think it's completely accurate, or like people are certainly not coming away from those videos fully understanding how it works. So they come to me oftentimes with a handful of myths around how this thing works or misconceptions around how this works. And so I'm here to clear all those up as well. Now, next, for your journey, you'll need this on your journey. So as you explore this concept, I'm going to ask you, so I'm going to delete this errand to Mark. I'm going to ask you, A, to keep an open mind, and in both directions as to whether this might be a good fit for you or it might not be. A lot of people come to me really excited and you're like, oh man, I think this is really gonna work for me. We find out, we take a look, we figure out whether it is or not. Or if you've heard a lot of people say like, oh no, this thing doesn't work the way people say it does. It doesn't work in Canada. Like whatever things you might have heard on that end, like keep an open mind. So like keep an open mind to the sense that if you are out to achieve something, this may be something that helps you along your path, or it may not be something that helps you along your path. Like an analogy I often use, it's kind of like going to a hardware store and saying like, what's the best tool you have? And expecting the person to say, oh yeah, every time people come here, they should walk out of here with a hammer. And it's like, no, if you're trying to dig a hole, a shovel is what you need. If you're trying to nail a nail, a hammer is what you need. Like that's really what I'm here to figure out with you is like, is this a tool that's going to help you move forward in what you're building in your life financially? Hey, thanks so much for joining me on this video. My mission is to make things clearer for Canadians around different financial concepts, and today really kicking off this series around infinite banking. So stay tuned for the videos, or check out the other videos I have out that are, is infinite banking a product or a philosophy? Are you a good fit? And what are the biggest differences between the US and Canada when it comes to this concept? And if you're ready to talk to me about this, click in go to the description below. There's a link there to book a 15-minute call. You find a time that works for you and for me because it books it in my calendar. No pressure call, just to discover whether it's a good fit for you or not. And as I said, if you're watching this really close to the release date, you're still booking calls with me. But if it's been a bit, you might be booking calls with someone on my team, but you're going to talk to someone awesome who's going to help you figure out whether you're a good fit and whether it makes sense to have a longer conversation where we dive into specifics. So thanks so much for joining me and this episode of Canadian Whiteboard Finance. Take care.